Yes, sir. You know, it's the first time I've ever really sat down and looked at my intro, even though I made it. I like it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Where I Come From. It is I, Mr. Tone Deaf, and we are back in the building this Saturday morning. And yeah, it is already the end of January, and this year is moving. But, of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't do one of my famous interviews with local people. For those of you guys who are new to Where I Come From, this podcast is 150% about exactly where I come from, which is the city of Milwaukee. I make sure that either A, I'm interviewing people from Milwaukee, having conversations with people of Milwaukee, or we're talking about Milwaukee. This is the only reason why you're here. If you're from anywhere else besides Milwaukee, you're probably on the wrong show. But I am joined today by a very special guest. This interview has been almost a year in the making. And it has nothing to do with anything other than the simple fact that we are two very busy people. And productively. And we have finally found a day and time that will work for us. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners.
Hello, listeners. Listenerville, my name is Dominik Primus. I am a mother, first and foremost. I'm an author, coach, speaker, encouragement catalyst, and the coach's cultivator.
That is a lot of words to start with the letter C. But that is pretty awesome.
And that wasn't intentional.
I know it wasn't. It just flowed like that.
And I'm an educator by day. I teach.
Where you teach at?
Milwaukee College Prep, MCP.
Everybody teaches at MCP.
Hey, scholars, y'all listening? Parents.
That is an awesome school. So definitely see if you're in Milwaukee, try to see if you can get your kid in there. But I want to go ahead and I want to sit down and talk to you, Miss Dominique. All right, so let's run down your accolades and stuff you did. So how did you get into being a coach to begin with?
Life experiences. So, man, I feel like we always growing through something.
Okay, that's true.
Growing through the flow. So I was married. I'm divorced. I'm a mother of two boys, 14 and 17. Oh my God, they'll be 15.
Shout out to the two boys, because how's the brand going?
The who?
The brand.
Yeah, so my oldest, 17, will be 18, hoo soon. He is a honor society, play basketball varsity, Rufus King. Come on, yes. And he's a young entrepreneur. He has a clothing, apparel line called Exotic.
So if you guys actually have been listening, if you go back to some of the previous episodes, you will remember there was an episode where I just had a random young man pop up on our show in the middle of it. And we basically gave him 15 minutes to promote himself. That is that young man.
Yes. shopexotic.com. Go ahead. He has everything from hoodies, t-shirts, cell phone cases.
He still don't have the hoodie in my size.
Yes, he does.
He does now?
Yes, he does. Shopexotic.com.
Gotta give him a call. He didn't have my size last time. I was hurt.
So when last time he had just started.
That's the only reason why I did not.
He didn't have his website yet. So now he's doing things. I'm super proud of him. He's doing things the right way.
Right.
He's being consistent. He's being disciplined as a 17-year-old young man, African-American young man. So I'm super proud of him with his website. So there's more things that are available now that was not available when he
we'll have to have him come back in. So one year later,
and talk about his
1 year later, we can have that conversation. Everything he learned in his first year of having a business.
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, so mom of those two amazing young boys, and just man, growing through the flow. Life was knocking me down. I've been, like I said, married and divorced. I've been homeless. I
Oh
went through
my.
domestic violence.
Oh wow.
I attempted to commit suicide. So my
Was ready to
experiences for the first and foremost, I know a lot of people look at like the degrees. Yes, I'm highly educated. I have my degrees. I have the certifications to be your coach. But most importantly, I have the life experiences to be your
Exactly.
coach. I'm not coaching or teaching or advising on anything that I haven't overcome or made it through myself.
Life is
So
a collect.
that's what qualifies me to
Life
be
is
a
a collection
coach.
of experiences at
Yes.
the end of the day. So, the fact that you are taking the lessons that you've learned and you're helping other people to either navigate through them or avoid them altogether is definitely a blessing that everybody needs to take a part of in one way or another. Now, you said that you are an author.
Yes.
What's the
I'm
name of
so
your
excited.
What's the name of your book?
My book is called Echoes of Encouragement, a
Ooh,
40-day journey through the echoes of God's Word. I am a woman of faith. I am a kingdom entrepreneur, which means that I build people. Most importantly, well, the hint is women, but I build women. I encourage women to heal and to grow. But I do it through the simple yet overlooked gift of encouragement.
okay. So, what made you do this particular book?
This book I was writing for 4 years. So it's a book that encourages women to heal and to grow. However, it was encouraging me when I was writing it.
Okay.
So it is a book of 40 days of devotional. It is interactive. So it's not a hard read, but it's also not a read that you're just going to read and sit and put down. It's a
Right.
read that gives you activities to do
Ooh,
to
blank
heal your
pages.
soul, interactive activities, right? So if you don't want to growth and healing requires work. Anything that you want in life, whether it's writing a book, whether it's being a coach, whether it is having your own podcast, whatever it is that you want to do, it requires work. And so this
Yes.
book, along with my story and my testimony and just the words to encourage you, I also give you interactive, tangible tools and different things that you can do and implement so that you can actually take those steps towards healing
That's
and
what's up.
growing.
Is this the only book you got?
Look, published currently, yes, but in May I will be releasing my second book called Grow Girl and Flourish. So I'm super encouraged and excited about that. Hey,
Okay.
come
So what?
on with these claps for
Yes, I
us.
keep it too. You want drop a bomb for the you?
Come
You
on,
want the?
that's so dope.
Because you would.
I love that one.
Everybody loves that one. I have to say that one for those special moments.
I love.
So tell me about this new book.
So the new book is about flourishing. Again, everything that I do is about growth. It's about healing. It's about flourishing. But in this book, it particularly have us dealing with the root issues. So what are the root things? A lot of times we put a band-aid over things and it doesn't heal correctly. And we haven't went back to where it first started. What halted us? What had us in fear? What discouraged us? What had us in a state of depression? Where did it start? And so going back to the start of those things so that we can effectively grow through it, deal with it, and learn to heal and actually walk in it. Because healing is not something that I'm not healed.
Right.
We are constantly healing through life. We're growing with the flow and it's a constant state. So it's so many things that we've been through. You just don't grow through one experience and be like, I'm good, I'm healed, total. Like, no, therapy is a process, healing is a process, growth is a process, and you don't ever arrive in that because there's so many layers to what we've experienced, especially when you are healing through those trauma issues, things that you've experienced as a child or adolescent, or just even in life in general. If you've been divorced, if you're grieving through the loss of loved ones, a parent, a child, you grieve forever. You just learn how to live through that.
Right. I'm glad you actually brought up the grieving and the depression because I say this all the time. This network was based off of me battling my depressions. During the time I had hit very, very low because everything that can go wrong did. Okay. And as you get older, you start to look back on society and you see things that's dubbed childhood trauma, and you try to find a way to mentally work through it. So I started this network to give me an avenue to be able to say how I feel in an unjudged environment. Um, but then it went from just me having the show where I'm talking about dealing with this situation that turned into giving other people opportunities. And you come to find out that there's a lot of things that people say. I mean, even to the point right now, we have grown to the point where I have shows that battle mental health issues, domestic violence. I have podcasters that do that. Those who are working on self love, body positivity, um, a lot of things. Hell, even I'm not gonna say everything is serious over here because damn sure it's not. Um, but even having people fun or just giving people the opportunity to have something to do outside their norm, it helps them battle with everyday society. I have a young woman who she has a podcast here, and she had two major losses in her family back to back, and doing her podcast is her moment of escapism of
Yes.
dealing with, not saying dealing with it, but it allows her to take that extra step every single day to get one step close to normality again. So
And I appreciate it. Like, just even you. So thank you for the platform that you provide
thank you.
for people to not only share about themselves. Thank you. That's amazing. But most importantly, for people like you just expressed, that young lady, um, that's why that's the
Right.
root. That's my why of why I started coaching. That's my why of why, the deeper why of me writing the book, because I've been there.
Right.
So when to be at a place where you feel like death is greater than life, that's a place that I don't want anybody else to
No,
experience.
and the sad part is everybody in one shape or form, whether they want to admit it or not, has always had the thought of, what if I just wasn't here anymore? You know,
It's
and
something that's not really talked about that
right,
should be, because
it
people
should,
feel like we have to hide our feelings and our emotions and you have to pretend to be okay. It's okay not to be okay.
especially in the black community. The black community, one of our generational curses is we are taught that men should never show their emotions and women just sweep whatever it is under the rug and accept as is. And we need to get away from that as a whole. Let people know how you feel. Um, my girls, because I have two girls, they're young children. I let them tell me how they feel about anything and everything. You know, the other day they both just got in trouble because they were playing in water. I mean, they're kids. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But instead of lashing out at them and punishing them for the mess they made, I asked them why they do it. Why were you doing this? Why did you choose this option? Did you know you can get in trouble, right? And and we talked through it. And when it was like, you know what, go to bed, they went to bed knowing that they've done wrong, and they slept. And when they got up the next morning, they apologized for making the mess and wanted to help clean it up. Whereas we were taught that they're wrong, give them a whooping, send them to bed.
Yeah.
Now my children, if I was to go that route, are looking at me like, well, daddy just gave me a whooping. I'm living in fear. All I was doing is what kids do. We did this over here. We did this at school. Why can't I do it at home? So,
Which is also something like how, and God bless their hearts, because I mean they did the best that they could do with what they knew and what
right,
they had, their resources, our parents as
right,
parenting. But that was my vow to myself, not to be the, and my mom is a phenomenal mom because I was raised by a single
right.
mom. However, with her having to work in 2 and 3 jobs and just not spend the time and not, I said, I'm not going to be that parent.
Yes.
And that what goes on in this household, stay in this household. And, or what's the other common saying, like, stay in a child's place, or don't speak unless spoken
Kids are
to
to be seen, not to
and
be
not
heard.
heard. Like that is causing depression
That
in
causes
children. They
depression.
grow up to be adults who are healing from things and they don't know how to I didn't always know how to effectively communicate and express myself
Exactly.
because I was always told to be seen and not heard.
Right. And then we're sitting here in a society with so many people coming out about being sexually abused as children, and
That's a Me Too story too.
we sit here and we say to ourselves, how did we not know that? It's because you never let the kid tell you things. You don't have these conversations, therefore they don't know what's right or wrong. If you're telling them be quiet, so when this other person who's taking advantage of the situation is saying you better not tell your mom, they don't feel like they can come to tell you because you're always shutting everything down that they're saying and doing. And I get it. Our parents were in that area where the world changed completely. A lot of our parents were born after the civil rights movement. A lot of them grew up during the crack era of the 80s, where the world itself changed and what we did and how we viewed things made a major effect on how they think. And a lot of people were just not prepared to be parents. You know, single parenthood, let's be honest, the government made it possible. They made it a thing.
Listen, this
Okay.
W-2 system,
They made it a thing.
the curse in
It's
disguise.
it's more normal to be a single mother. You can be more successful as a single mother than a two-parent household in this world.
Yes, it's single though. I mean, it's not single. It's crazy though.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in a certain demographic.
Of course. I don't talk
Because
about that
you-
other demographic
baby,
too
you don't get
often.
no help if
Right.
you.
But that's a whole nother show.
Yes.
But I'm glad that you are being the coach and the catalyst that you are.
Thank you.
Taking your experience is more of a testimonial of you coming out on the other end. I'm actually glad that you are here to have this
Yes,
conversation with
listen.
me for more than the fact that you are physically sitting here conversating with me, but the fact that you are physically here
Yeah.
conversating with me. Yes,
Yes.
conversating is a word, people. Shut up. But before we get to the end of this, I want to talk about your connections,
Okay.
specifically your Cedar connection.
So Cedar Connections is, how you have an umbrella. Cedar Connections is the business itself.
Okay.
A lot of people know me for the Cedar Echoes of Encouragement, which are
Mhm.
my encouragement boxes.
Ooh, I want one.
I'll make you one. I have one boxes for men too. It's called the Dear King Edition. So basically, what these boxes do, they provide. It's like a life in the box. It's the
Yeah.
encouragement that you need, the words that you need, the activities that you need to get you through those most challenging and chaotic times in your life where you feel that you're alone or you don't have anyone or you just necessarily just don't know what to do or don't feel like you have the tools to make it through. Everything in the box is for you during that time. And then I have, of course, the book and apparel and all of that. And then under Cedar Connections is another branch, Cedar Cultivations, which is the coaching and speaking services. I also facilitate workshops called the Greenhouse Experience. The greenhouse is in the natural sense is a place where plants and flowers go
Right.
to get the nourishment that they need and then they're planted back in society. So I create the greenhouse experience for women. And so we have interactive. I'm big on interactive activities.
I see that.
I just do not like speaking. So I'm an active coach. I am a coach in action. I am not just going to speak to you or at you. We're going to do this together.
Hands on.
There's work that you need to do in your own garden. You are the chief tiller and the chief cultivator of your garden. And I'm pulling that without of you. It's already in you. So
Right.
I'm not doing the work. I'm just guiding you to do what's already in you. So that's Cedar Cultivations. And then I have Cedar's Closet, which is my blog. I love writing, of course, my books. And so Cedar's Closet is just that space to just release. A lot of times our closet is either just crowded or when we get home, just take your stuff off and throw it in.
I don't even tell you what my closet look like.
Exactly. But Cedar's Closet is the place where you can be. You can just be. You don't have to do. You don't have to worry about being seen, being heard. You can just be. And that be whatever. You don't have to be what the world wants you to be, your children want you to be, your husband, your wife, your employer. You are just free to just be.
Well, as great as that is, that's a difficult for a lot of people.
It is.
Because the closet is actually crowded with a lot of skeletons.
But we release those skeletons in within that Cedar's closet.
See what you did there? You might see, I'm a great assist man. But I do this.
Yes, do it.
So let me ask you this question. How can we be a part of these workshops?
So I am on all forms of social media. You can connect there. You can book through CedarConnections.com, which is my website.
It's a beautiful website too, people.
Thank you. You went?
Of course I went.
Yeah,
so I'm on it right now. I'm checking out all this greenery that's going on
here. CedarConnections.com and also Cedar Connections on all social media platforms. So I'm Cedar Connections on Twitter, Cedar Connections on Instagram, Facebook.
Wait, you got a date night box?
Yes, I have a date night box. We cultivating marriages too and relationships. It's all about the cultivation. So you want to cultivate every area of your life. If I'm only focused on cultivating my children, then I'm failing them because I'm not cultivating myself. If I'm only worried about cultivating my marriage, then I'm failing myself. If I'm not cultivating myself in general, I cannot cultivate anything else in my life because I believe that you pour from the overflow. So my cup is not half empty or half filled.
Right.
It's refillable and it needs to be full so that I can pour and cultivate you all with the overflow. And so I work on cultivating myself and everything around me at all times. This is not a performance or something that I wake up and put on. This is who I am.
I just want y'all to understand, people, y'all need to get these boxes. Like she has water bottles. She has I Create, I Cultivate.
Yes.
I Encourage shirts. She got Grow. I need that Grow shirt.
Yes.
I need that in a size 3X.
There's some more stuff. So the website, the Shop the Greenhouse. So if you do go to the website, Shop the Greenhouse is that store. Now. Yes, come on now. Shop the Greenhouse is a store, and there will be new things I added, new cedar apparel, and items added for the 2022 because we have so many great things in store, new boxes. So everything will be updated on the Shop the Greenhouse page.
People, y'all need to go to this website. She has a blog that I'm reading. I've been reading the whole time she's talking, called 6 Tips to Rest Your Mind. Woo.
Yes, come on now.
I need that. I'm only on step 2. And, but
so yes, and the blogs are released once a week. Okay. And so I'll just be making sure it's super consistent with that.
Now you got to see. I bookmarked it now, so you got to keep it updated.
Yes, come on.
It's on my toolbar now.
And then the cedar cultivation services, it's a tab for that. So it is. I have the one-on-one cedar coaching, and then I have a Flourish coaching, which is an 8-week workshop.
I see that.
And then I have the greenhouse experience, which is for just organizations, women that serve organizations that serve women and cater to women, and leaders in general. And it's just pulling out, what's already in you.
I'm gonna hire you to do a couple of these presentations.
Yes, come on. And speaking engagements, everything you need to know, go to the site www.CedarConnections.com, and you will find everything that you need concerning the book, concerning the speaking engagements. If you want a workshop, if you want one-on-one, you need me to come and speak and uplift some people.
Let me go ahead and book you for every other Wednesday right now, starting in March.
The boxes. So I have a box for men, Dear King box. I have a family time box that is coming out this year. I have a box for educators because I am one, and being in this field, I was like, educators need encouragement.
Educators definitely need one after these past couple of years.
Listen, okay, because I'm like, Lord, like I know everywhere I am is ministry, but I think I want to quit.
Like you, I have had so many people, and it's funny because I am friends with so many teachers at your school, and I think that's how we actually started. You were supposed to be a part of my teachers panel that I did about a year or 2 ago, and you couldn't make it.
I remember.
That's probably because you couldn't make it.
Like I remember.
But And the words of what I heard from a lot of them pre-COVID was like, this school system sucks big
It
time.
does.
And then when COVID occurred, and I went back and revisit that conversation with a few people, and they were like, "This really sucks
It
now."
does.
Like, so many people were like, "I want to help these kids, but they are making it almost nearly
Oh,
impossible."
listen. And that is the truth, because it's like, from a woman standpoint, from a just a mother standpoint,
Right.
and just who I am, like, I want to be there. Those are my babies. But then I also look at it like, I'm working for a system that's set up for our babies to fail.
Right.
And when you know that, I feel like it's a disservice
It's hard. Like,
to separate the two.
separate two. Like, I used to say this all the time, and people would look at me like I was crazy. But the more and more I'm getting older, the more and more it's starting to prove that it's right. I always said, in so many words, the desegregation of the school system was the worst thing to happen to the Black community. Because when we were only us, we worked harder collectively.
That's the truth, though. Look at Black Wall Street. They
Right.
know that. That's the
Right.
truth.
We worked harder collectively. We made sure, one, we never lost our identity. Two, we taught our kids how to think, not what to think, because that's what a lot of the predominantly European descent school systems do. The private school systems teach their kids how to think, not what to think. Meanwhile, the public school system is, we have these standardized testings. Make sure your school passes these testings
Which
with a
is
good
crazy.
score, or else we won't give y'all no money.
And it's one test. I'm not exactly sure the exact one, but the third grade test scores is what they decide how many
Yes.
jails they're going to build. Like, why is that a thing?
Why are you concerned about that at that young of an age? Because are you getting ready to tell us in so many words, once you get a third grade reading level, we really don't care about you no more? Because if you're preparing for so many kids to go to prison, that means you're failing what you're resourcing your materials for to begin with. If I'm looking at here and I do this third grade reading test and I see that 27% of them are below reading average, I'm not going to go say, well, let's go ahead and open about 4 more prisons over here. No, I'm going to be like, what programs can we do to get them on this page?
But that was never the intent.
It was never the intent. We know that. Prison systems is free labor, which is basically legalized slavery. Let's keep it a buck.
I feel like school is the preparation for a jail, though. Right. Even if you look at like how, like you said, they're not taught how to think; they're taught what to think.
Right.
And it's from the uniforms that they brought in, talking about it decreases bully. It does not. It's all like a control thing. I'm going to teach you what to do, how it's going to be when you come and work for me, whether it's the jail system or to be a worker. Entrepreneurship is not taught. Social skills is not taught. Even the things that we had growing up, financial classes, home ec, all of that stuff, the things that they need to survive once they really get out of that system, they don't have.
And it's crazy because recently I seen a news article where they're going to try to implement financial literacy into the public school systems.
Based on what?
But I was saying, but when I thought about that, I was like, first of all,
what angle are they teaching?
What schools are you teaching that at? First of all, because that makes a big difference. Like, I hate to say this, Rufus King has always been publicized throughout the city of Milwaukee as the best public high school to be a part of. I get that you have to have your measuring stick, but why does that mean schools like Custer, North Division, South Division need to be left behind just because this school over here is doing good? I honestly would feel that's when you need to focus a little bit more on these schools over here now. Like, okay, what you've done here at King works, apparently. Okay, this is the way you're projecting it. It works. So what from this model that we're using can we put in these other schools to at least get them 2-3 grades above what they're scoring at compared to the rest of the state?
Because that's not the goal.
And of course, it's not the goal
to get them up. And it's sad that like the school system get more money for our kids being dumb, behind, like not knowing that our babies are basically Well, Lord, I don't care.
No,
Our
it's a
babies,
podcast. We're uncensored here. Say what
our
you want.
babies are a price tag. Each child, especially with I'm unsure about MCP. I've only been teaching with them for 2 years. I was with NPS for 8 years.
Right.
Each child in NPS is worth a tag price of, I believe it was like 5,500 or 6,000 and something per child. And that's why when you get to like Third Friday, or it's not necessarily what your child is learning. It's not necessarily any of that. That's not the goal. The goal is just to make sure your child is in that seat so they can continue to get them funds.
Right.
NPS right now is sitting on what? Some $1 billion. They just had like that meeting and they were put on blast that they have these billions of dollars and millions of dollars that they've been sitting on during this pandemic, not spending within the school. Where's the money going, and why are you not spending it for what the schools need and what the staff and the scholars need? What are you doing?
And you know what's crazy? When my children were still in the Head Start age, I was actively a part of the Head Start board. Now, for those people who don't know, Head Start is actually a separate program outside the NPS school system, but still tied to the school system. So think of it like your cousins running the family business, okay, or your husband-in-law is running the business. All right, so I found out that even though they get this large arbitrary amount of money, that if they don't spend it, what's ever left over, the government takes back.
Well, the government gonna take it back because they ain't been spending
right, and I think that's where the biggest concern with the COVID situation is going on, because of course, yes, they want the kids in the school so they can have the bodies, so they can justify the expenses. If everybody's working from home and the only thing that you're really spending money on is salary, replacement laptops, and
well, they still charge us our fees, because when my baby was at that, both of my babies attend King, and we still had to pay school fees and supply fees, and I'm like, this was my electricity I was using, and my own. They had their own computers. I didn't accept them.
Yeah, see, now we did too. We bought the girls their own computers because if something happened to it, I didn't want to be like, okay, exactly. we owe the school $500 when the laptop really cost $97. But but that, and I get that. It was like, but like you said, they're sitting on $1 billion. This is the time, more than any time, is revamp your programs. Invest in better opportunities, better programs. Take the money that would normally be going to paying for teachers' aides and stuff like that, and transition it over to on-site tutors.
You'll have to actually have a system set up that cares to do that. I digress. I'm not saying that teachers don't care. I'm not
teachers care.
Everybody in NPS doesn't care. Everybody in central office, I'm not saying that they don't care. I'm just saying that we are working for a system that does not care.
Yeah, the system
we're working for a system that has a specific agenda, and while we're in this agenda, we just have to do our part. My part is encouraging my babies and doing the best that I can, what's in my control, to make sure that they are their best selves while they're in my care. But I know that little old me, like, that's not my gifting to control or change this whole system. It definitely, if it's yours, step up. But I know that that's not mine.
It may not be yours to control it, but it may be yours to encourage those to do it.
Oh, it's definitely now that yes.
See, this conversation we having right now may be just a little bit of information somebody needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we have come to the end of this episode. You will be back.
Yes.
Because we gotta have a box night.
I welcome that.
Where we come back and we actually crack open one of these boxes.
Oh, come on now. Yes.
And we
the
go
unboxing.
The unboxing.
We're going to do an unboxing.
See, I'm 3 mind states ahead of you. We're going to do an unboxing. We're going to play a few games. We're going to have some fun. So make sure you check us out on all streaming platforms. That's Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Make sure you check her out. Just go to CedarConnections.com and everything is there. Yes. Everything you need. And make sure you also sign up for one of her classes if you're here in the city of Milwaukee. I'm telling you, she's going to change your life. We're going to go from the root to the fruit.
We're going to change it. You're going to do the work. I'm just going to walk alongside you.
I say we.
You said I'm going to change it. I don't change their life. They got to take the steps to do it. Ooh. So if you're not willing to put in the work, don't contact me, because I'm not changing your life. You are changing your life.
We gonna call you.
Yes.
And y'all are going to change our own lives.
Yes.
With that being said, we are out of here, people. Peace.